Welcome back now for the news in detail. We begin from Saudi Arabia, whose Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman says he prefers a political solution over a military action to resolve tensions with Iran. In an interview, Salman warned oil prices could spike unimaginably high if the world does not come together to deter Tehran. The Crown Prince said the attacks on Riyadh's oil facilities was an act of war by Iran. He said lack of a strong and firm action against Iran will lead to further escalation that will threaten world interests. Salman also denied that he ordered the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi by Saudi operatives. The Crown Prince called the incident heinous. Iran has announced support for ceasefire proposed by Yemen's Houthis. Houthis offered to stop drone and missile attacks into Saudi Arabia in return for a full end to the Saudi bombardment. Iran's Foreign Ministry spokesman Abbas Mousavi says the move will lead to regional stability and security. Mousavi said Tehran encourages the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen to accept this offer. He said Iran also supports any moves to establish ceasefire and end the war against the Yemeni nation. Mousavi said Iran believes this proposal is an important step to create peace and stability in the region. Moving on, Indian forces have killed a child and a woman in unprovoked firing in the Nikyal and Rakchikri sectors along the line of control. Pakistan Army says 3 others, including 2 women, were wounded in the firing. The Army says it effectively responded to the Indian aggression. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan is visiting Azad Kashmir's southern Mirpur district today to express solidarity with earthquake victims. A 5.8 magnitude quake hit the lakeside city and its adjoining areas last Tuesday, killing 40 people and injuring over 800 others. During his visit, Khan will be briefed on casualties as well as rescue, relief and rehabilitation. AJK officials earlier on Friday, the Prime Minister announced 500,000 rupees in compensation for each person killed in the quake. Over 20 protests have been held in Indian-occupied Kashmir against New Delhi's illegal annexation and lockdown since Friday. Protesters say Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan's UNGA speech boosted the spirit of Kashmiris to oppose Indian oppression. Officials say protests have picked up over the past 3 days because of the increasing demonstrations. Indian troops have further intensified restrictions in the valley. Meanwhile, hundreds of British protesters took to streets in Manchester, condemning India's inhumane lockdown of occupied Kashmir. The Freedom March started at All Saints Park and ended at the Manchester Arena, with people raising anti-Modi slogans. New Delhi's curfew and communications blackout in Indian-occupied Kashmir has now entered its 57th consecutive day. In Austria, Conservative leader Sebastian Kurz's People's Party has won the snap parliamentary elections. Leading with 37% of the votes, Kurz still needs a coalition partner to form the government.
Austria's political turmoil, fueled by a video scandal, appears to have ended with the result of Sunday's snap polls. Conservative leader and former Chancellor triumphed in the parliamentary election. The corruption scandal appears to have done little damage, as Kurz managed 17% more votes than last elections.
It's a historic day for the People's Party in Austria, and we are so thankful for the support of the people in our country. Now we will try our best to serve the Republic of Austria.
Leader of the runner-up, Social Democratic Party, Randy Wagner, is far from satisfied with the results. Norbert Hofer's scandal-tainted far-right Freedom Party took a beating and won only 16% of the ballots.
It will be very difficult for the election winner to keep his election promises, because Sebastian Kurz will have a difficult time to fulfill his election promises in a coalition with the Greens or the SPO. That will be a challenge.
The Greens also made an unpredicted gains, surging with a notable 14% of vote bank.
The result is magnificent. It's the biggest comeback ever in the history of Austrian politics of recent decades and the best results the Greens have ever achieved in Austria.
Lacking a majority, former Chancellor Kurz will need to cobble up a coalition in the coming days.
In Greece, a fire inside a crowded refugee camp has killed one person on the eastern island of Lesbos. The camp is home to about 12,000 people, while its facilities can only accommodate 3,000. Following the fire, clashes erupted between refugees and the police on the island. Police said reinforcements were sent to help restore order. Greece is hosting some 70,000 mostly Syrian refugees and migrants who have fled their country since 2015. Meanwhile, Syrian Kurds have criticized the UN-backed Constitutional Committee, saying they are extremely underrepresented. Kurdish official Mustafa Bali said having a couple of Kurds from northern Syria on the committee is not enough. Bali's remarks came in retaliation to UN Ambassador for Syria, Geir Pedersen's comments. Pedersen had defended the committee, claiming it had plenty of Kurdish representatives. The Constitutional Committee includes 150 members. It has 50 members from the Syrian government and 50 from the opposition. Now, at the UN General Assembly, a ministerial meeting of world leaders has called for an unconditional ceasefire in Libya. In a joint statement, the country has also called for a pullout of heavy weapons from the front lines and an end to the use of air power by all parties. The joint statement was devised by representatives of Europe, UAE, Russia, the US, the UK, Turkey and China. The African Union and the Arab League also endorsed the demands at the meeting. The statement called on member states not to intervene in the conflict in Libya or take measures that fuel the crisis. It asked all countries to abide by the Security Council's arms embargo on the country. The communiqué also called for a UN-backed inter-Libyan conference with all regional and international stakeholders. Meanwhile, 19 people have been killed in a factory fire in China's eastern Zhejiang province. Officials said 3 others were injured in the blaze in Ningkai County. They said 8 people were also rescued from the fire. Now, Hong Kong's metro stations and roads have reopened today after a chaotic weekend. Heavy contingents of police have been deployed after a night of most violent protests seen by the city so far. Businesses closed on Sunday as police and demonstrators faced off in intense clashes all night. Police fired tear gas, water cannon and pepper spray to break the protesters in the busy shopping district. Several activists were arrested after they staged demonstrations from Causeway Bay to Admiralty. Protesters say they will hold mass demonstrations across Hong Kong today and tomorrow. Now, Turkey says it has killed 5 terrorists in southeastern Siirt province. The Interior Ministry says its forces carried out a counter-terrorism operation in Pervari district. The statement added that operation is underway to root out more terrorists. It said Turkey will continue to destroy the weapons cache and shelters of extremists. In Saudi Arabia, a fire at the Haramain high-speed rail station has injured 5 people in the coastal city of Jeddah. The cause of the fire is yet unknown. The Saudi Civil Defense said it is working to extinguish the fire with air support. The 450-kilometer-long Haramain railway links the 2 holy cities of Mecca and Medina with the city of Jeddah. The railway link was opened in 2018 and cost about $6 billion. Torrential rains and flash floods have killed 127 people in India's northern Uttar Pradesh and eastern Bihar states. Officials say UP has been hit the hardest with 93 deaths, while 34 people have died in Bihar. They said the river Ganges was flowing above the danger level in Ghazipur and Balia districts of Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh's Relief Commissioner said a flood warning has been issued in 28 districts. Meanwhile, authorities said Patna, Bhagalpur and Kaimur districts in Bihar are the worst affected. The Disaster Management Authority said 15 districts of Bihar have been put on alert after more rains are predicted. China marked its 6th Martyrs' Day. Leaders of the Communist Party attended the commemoration services on Tiananmen Square. President Xi Jinping, along with Premier Li Keqiang, laid flowers and walked around the monument of the martyrs. They also sang Chinese national anthem. People from all walks of life joined in the congregation. China approved 30th September in 2014 to commemorate those who lost their lives for independence. In April 2018, China's top legislature also passed a law to better protect the reputation and honor of heroes and martyrs. Well, it's time for a short break. Stay tuned with Indus News. Welcome back. Now moving on with the news stories. The US toy maker Mattel has launched a new line of gender-inclusive dolls. The new toy line, Creatable World, comes with a doll and variety of clothing options with endless styling possibilities for kids. This report will tell you more.
The gender-neutral doll range is customizable with different skin tones and styling options that can easily woo all kids. The dolls' kits include funky outfits and hairstyles, allowing children to style toys with short or long hair, a skirt, trousers, or both. Mattel's global head of design, Kim Kalmune, says research shows children don't want their toys to be dictated by gender norms.
There are some clothes that are more feminine presenting, some clothes that are more masculine presenting, and then the kids can combine them and put them together in any way that they want to.
The toy designers aim to redefine gender stereotypes surrounding children and their toys. The dolls have been designed after consultations with American pediatrician Cara Natison.
I was asked to look at the body type of the doll and to put my pediatric brain on and to understand what about this doll was appropriate in terms of size and proportions. And
this toy doll range is for everyone and is available at the price of only $29.
Wealthy countries, including the United States, Germany and the UK, spent less on aid for humanitarian crisis last year. The 2019 Global Humanitarian Assistance Report says the reduction occurred despite unprecedented need. The report said the US, world's biggest donor of humanitarian aid, cut its spending by 6%. Germany and Britain both spent 11% less than in 2017. That was despite a record $28.3 billion requested by the United Nations. The report found the overall government aid rose slightly as the UAE and Saudi Arabia boosted their spending. It was notably for rebuilding war-hit Yemen. The report said multi-year funding, which helps aid workers on the ground manage the ongoing impact of crisis, also grew. In India, coastal megacities like Mumbai face a catastrophic risk of climate-driven flooding. The shanty dwellers of its coastal area fear for their homes and lives. Critics say if defenses against flooding are not prepared now, it could spark social and economic chaos in the area. More details in this report.
During the monsoon, rainstorms regularly flood the slums of Mumbai, Asia's biggest, leaving hundreds of people vulnerable. For densely populated cities like Mumbai, such disasters are a threat to personal incomes as well as national economies.
If water levels rise, I don't think any part of Mumbai will be safe. Mumbai is an island and there is only one way out, and even tall buildings won't be safe. It's dangerous and worrying for our children's future and leaves every family living here at God's mercy.
Forestry officer D.R. Patel wades through knee-deep water to plant mangroves and trees, the only protection they have at the moment.
If we lose mangroves, there will be major flooding as water ingress will happen as sea level rises and water seeps into the city, causing human casualties and flooding.
Critics say India's largest metropolis is not doing enough to hold back the waves. The Maharashtra Maritime Board says coastal management plans have been initiated in the region but will take time.
We have to go for a stepwise approach, but because our challenges are also multi-faced resources, and with population the demand on the resources is more. So therefore our solutions also have to be, there is always a cost-benefit analysis when you implement a particular solution.
UN studies show sea at Mumbai could rise by 1 meter in the next century because of the global warming. If the prediction comes true, one academic report suggests a quarter of Mumbai could be affected.
Asia stocks are trading mixed today after reports of China's factory activity in September came in above expectations. Markets opened lower over news of U.S. administration's possible delisting of Chinese companies from U.S. stock exchanges. Mainland Chinese stocks slipped by the afternoon, with the Shanghai and Shenzhen shedding around 0.5%. The Hang Seng Index rose over 0.5% as shares of Hong Kong exchanges and clearing surged over 2%. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 slipped more than 0.5% as shares of index heavyweight SoftBank Group plunged more than 2%. The pan-European Euro Stoxx 50, Germany's DAX slipped marginally, but London's FTSE gained over 1% after opening fractionally lower. Now let's have a look at the weather updates. Well, with the weather update, we come to the end of this bulletin. For more news and updates, keep watching Indus News.